Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to talk about why the clones don't reverse their accelerated aging. And that does make me curious because I never really thought of that until I saw this headline. And throughout the Clone Wars it does make sense why they didn't try to reverse their accelerated aging per se, but after the war, after the whole clone revolt that we saw in the Bad Batch, it does make me wonder why there are some clones, like that one clone in the Kenobi show, didn't try to reverse his aging a bit. So let's, or like Captain Rex, or the two other clones that we saw in Rebels. So let's give this a read. The Clone Wars from the clones from the Clone Wars are genetically modified to live half the lifespan of a normal human, but there may be a way to reverse this. Star Wars The Clone Wars have come to a long way in helping show what the galaxy looks like from the perspective of the clones. They were originally crafted from Jango Fett's template for the sole purpose of fighting and dying for the Republic, and didn't feel like fighting for itself. The clones exist to do the dirty work no one else wanted to do. They cleaned up someone else's mess or die trying. Sadly, they didn't even have a choice in the matter. Their existence is anything but natural, and from every angle, their situation is a bitterly ironic joke. In Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, the Kaminoan Prime Minister tells Obi-Wan Kenobi that the clones have an accelerated growth rate. That fact only adds to the tragedy of their plight, since it means they lead for shorter lives than most in the Star Wars galaxy. Despite looking like they're in their 20s, all the clones in the Star Wars in the Clone Wars are actually 10 to 13 years old. But only the ones who survived the war really understood the injustice that they'd been dealt. After serving their purpose in Order 66, the clones were cast aside by the Republic they'd served. When it happened, if they didn't betray the Jedi, skadoosh, just so you know. Anyways, the clones don't have access to their genetic code. Though Star Wars has yet to explore it, the chance for the clones to live long and happy lives is not totally out of reach. Theoretically, reversing their accelerated aging is entirely possible. However, like removing the clone's inhibitor chips, this procedure is difficult to perform. While the inhibitor chips and are physical devices that can be removed from their brains, their accelerated aging is a genetic problem. What more, the clones would need access to Jango Fett's original DNA template in order to restore their natural aging process. This proves an enormous complication, since Fett's template was likely taken in the Empire's sack of Kamino before its destruction. And yeah, I can't really see Palpatine keeping that after the Clone Wars ended. Um, if the clones had access to the original template, it's unlikely they would have the wherewithal to figure out how to stop their age acceleration. The only one who would likely be able to reverse the acceleration is the one who implements it, Kamino's chief cloning scientist, Nella Se, who is in the Empire's custody during the events of the Bad Batch. In Legends, a similar plot line occurs in the Republic's Commando novel series, where a Mandalorian named Cal Skirata attempts to reverse the clones' accelerated aging with the help of the chameleons. So species age differently in Star Wars. Well, obviously. Just look at Yoda's species. 50 years for the Yoda species is like, what, 6 months to a year for us normal humans? So no kidding. Anyways. Well, now let's say could be the key in fixing the short lifespan. Most of the clones seem to have accepted their fate. Species in the Star Wars universe tend to age differently. The basic human might pity the clones for their brief lives, whereas Yoda's species, or the Hutts, who live for centuries, think a mere 100 years is far too short a time to live. Even though he was physically in his 60s, Captain Rex fought in the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi, proving that he made the most of his brief life he was given after serving for the Republic in Star Wars The Clone Wars. So essentially, the reason like, why the clones have to reverse their accelerated aging is because, one, they needed the original Jango Fett template, which was presumably destroyed in the destruction of the Camino cloning facility. And of course, that only assumes if Palpatine didn't like have a copy of the original template for himself in case he ever changed his mind about wanting to bring back the clones. Or two, and two, they will need the chief cloning scientist, now let's say his help to do so. And this article even said that it, now let's say was in Empire's custody in the defense of the Bad Batch, which in this era still have clones. But that's really interesting. Which also reminds me I need to watch the last two episodes of the Bad Batch and review them on the channel. Sorry for the long ass hiatus, guys. Anyways, what do you beautiful people have to say about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another, and may the force be with us all.